Hey, Snowball. Love it outside, don't you? I just love it. So, I'm gonna mill some wood today for the interior of the house. Well, I got a lot of projects. The log I'm gonna do is probably for the framing of my next project, but we'll see. But right now it's 20 degrees, 19. Feels colder though. It's windy, about 10 degrees or 10 mile an hour winds, I'd say, and gusting past that. But I think we're supposed to get some accumulation of snow. So far, it hasn't been much, just a kind of a dusting. So that's good, but if it does snow, I might actually be able to use my new tractor. So I cleared the solar panels off. We've got the wood in the house. We've exercised the dogs, and so we got our chores done. So now I can do the actual task at hand today. There's a squirrel right there. It's over here. Go get him. There he is. There he is. Bruin. Right there. Right there. So I'm putting some wood up. Got some red pine back here and some white pine, kind of the crappy boards. So that's good. I won't show you the interior of the garage because that'll be on the next another video. But I am getting a bunch of lumber milled for I got to do the ceiling in this garage. I got a little bit of siding to do on the garage. I have to mill lumber for the siding on the house. I have to mill lumber for the interior paneling on the house and the ceiling in the house. So, and framing for this next garage build I'm going to do. And why, do you ask, am I building another building? And that is a good question. For my sanity, to keep my brain going, and also because I am going to we're going to get a van, a high roof Sprinter van, not a Sprinter, a Transit, and it's on order, but it's taking a really long time. But anyway, neither one of us are big on going to beaches or anything for vacations. And we also have dogs. We like to keep them with us. So I thought that a good vacation would be to travel the United States. So we would need somewhere to bring our dogs with. So at first I was going to build a camper, one of those little teardrop camper things. But then as I thought more about it, I thought it would be good to have everybody in the same, vehicle instead of the dogs in a car and then you're outside cooking and stuff. This way the dogs can be inside the van, a large area, and you can do all that stuff inside instead of like parking and having to tow a trailer, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so we're building a garage to house this van because it's got to be tall and it's a pretty big van. And I don't want to do it in my actual garage, because we have my work vehicle, my personal vehicle, her personal vehicle. Yeah, so that's why we're doing that. Anyway, we got doors built in here so the snow won't blow in on that side. That wasn't the original plan. The original plan was to have that open, and then because more air would get in and dry my wood, but I don't think that's gonna be a huge factor in drying. I think mostly the annoyance of having snow blowing in would be worse. So my guys and me built this door, and, got this latch done. My guy built this latch. Pretty cool. Doors are working good so far. So that's gonna be nice. But we're milling this log. I don't know how long it is, about 14 feet, maybe a little over. And that will probably become the truss material. That's some trusses. Those are some beams for that garage build. So we'll get started on this today. I'm still getting used to this whole process, using this mill. You know, I'm pumping out stuff that I can use. I don't think it's the best quality material because I'm not like quarter sawing and stuff. I still haven't wrapped my whole head around that. Like, I don't know if you need a giant log to quarter saw or not. I mean, this butt end's pretty good size, but this end isn't that big. But I don't know if it's a matter of when you quarter saw, you're producing the best lumber, but you're not getting all the lumber out of it that you need for your project. So, like, I have a bunch of logs. I could quarter saw. If I quarter sawed all that stuff, I would have the lumber I need. But the problem is, I need to get a project done like now. I don't have 3 months to mill all this lumber and then do the project. I needed to do the project next week. So I got to get my 1-inch boards out of this, my 1-inch by 8 or 6 boards that I need for my my ceiling. I don't have time to I'll get a couple 2x6s and a couple 1xs and turn and flip. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, but that right now is what I've come up with. Is like, I need the lumber now for this project. It might not be the best quality lumber, but I'm going to get the lumber I need, and it's going to work. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'm going to get, right now this is hopefully going to be 2x8 by 14s. And actually I'm making them 1.5 inches. I'm not doing the 2x because I don't feel I need to for the strength. I computed it in my head because all this is 1.5 inch, and it's working fine. So far. I forgot my gloves. I gotta walk back to the house. All right. That's why I never get done. Anything done around here. It's a lot of walking, a lot of steps in. I should have done when I parked this thing in here was move it farther this way. Just like 6 inches would have really helped, because I don't walk on this side very often, and I have good room, but I walk over here a lot more and it's a little tight. So anyway, to do that though, I would have to change implements on the thing, move the pallet forks, back it up a lot, and then level it and stuff. So I'm making do for right now until I screw with that someday. So I got the taper evened out across here, make my first cut, and down low enough where my second cut will actually make a board, and then I sometimes make a third cut depending on what it looks like. Otherwise I turn it around 3 different times. We're doing that for a total of 4, and get my cant. What I do is I take that first cut, throw it in my little rack here. That becomes firewood for my stove in the future garage, probably not the house. I'll just burn it in the garage. Then the next usable board I throw down here, and all the boards that I have to recut, I just call them bullshit boards. They're not the best. They're kind of ugly usually, but anyway, I'll probably use those for the ceiling. in the garage. The nicer stuff I'll use in the house. And I put it here so I can walk on it, and then my feet don't get as cold. So I'll look at this, see what I can get. If I can get an 8, if that's 8 across, then I'll start flipping it. And then I got to kind of look at this end and see if it's not quite 8. I'll cut another board, but I can't cut too much because I need to make sure that I end up with an 8-inch cant so I can start cutting my trusses. But it's all like, you just got to do it a lot and figure it out. It's like a little guessing game, but it's pretty rewarding turning this stuff into lumber, you know. I don't know, it's fun. You don't think of anything else. Extremely advanced hanging system. I made it in less than a minute, and it's worked for probably 50 hours of milling. Works great, keeps the bucket closer underneath that entire opening that shoots the sawdust, and keeps it fairly clean. You fill up a bucket with a log like this in pretty much 2 cuts. So I have 6 buckets here. So pretty much every log I end up dumping all the buckets. And probably every 4th or 5th log, I clean up this entire area, sweep it all to here, and then when these boards are all gone, sweep it all to here, and then I pretty much have another 6 buckets of sawdust. So you got to find a way to get rid of all that stuff. Right now we're composting it, but I don't know, I got to think of a good place. Maybe put it on my wet spots, my trail, maybe that'll work. We'll see. Chose to do on cutting that first cut on this one. It had like a aggressive taper on the butt end, so I didn't too much worry about taking too much off of here. You can see my line, but then it's got like a swoop in it, so I didn't get much here, but then I got a little here. So my next cut, I'll probably get like a 4-inch board, a 1x, and then another, you know, nice longer 6 or something out of that, or I should say probably a 4 and a 5 foot, and not anything in that middle foot section, but it's all like a guessing game, trying to get the most usable lumber out of each piece. So you have to imagine if I cut an inch down, you know, that'll be at least an 8-inch board with a little bit of wane on the underside. But if I flip it up and put it in my ceiling, you won't see that wane, and it'll be perfectly fine. So that's what you got to think about. Maybe there'd be a lot of people that said, well, that's junk wood or whatever, but I'm trying to use the most out of what I have because I know it'll work, and it'll save me money in the long run. This thing will pay for itself quicker, which I'm sure it's already paid for itself, building a building that I wouldn't need if I had it. But I mean, I can't imagine how much money's, you know, how much wood is inside that building and how much wood is inside my garage that I'm building right now, and this other garage that I'm going to build, and my greenhouse that I'm going to build, you know, and all the interior wood that will do. Like, I was going to put tin in my garage in the ceiling, but I'm like, well, I got the wood, it's free, or I already bought it, you know, some of it, so I might as well mill it up with my mill and just use wood instead of metal. So, and then all my interior, instead of sheetrock in my house, I'll probably paint or stain white all these boards, and it'll be my sheet. I won't have to pay a sheetrocker to do it. I'll get the material for very cheap. Do it myself on both ends, you know, because I wouldn't do the sheetrock work. I'd probably hire somebody, but this wood I can nail in. So now's when I can really see what I can get out of this piece of wood. Right now I believe it's like 10 inches across. And I'm going to flip it totally over. Yeah, a little over 10. So I'll flip it completely over, cut off that side, and get it down to 8 inches into an 8-inch cant. And then start, that's the fun part, in my opinion, and then start whacking out these boards. Start measuring down the bunk. I'll start at the big end and see what my first cut would be. Looks like about 11 and a half. I could start getting something usable just underneath that. So I'll come down here. Now see, 11 and a half is nothing. I won't get a usable board under there. So I'm going to nix that and go down to probably 11. I'll get a usable board here and down at 11. Same thing there. Same thing there. And this, the blade will go over the top of the log at 11, but I don't care because from here on would be usable. So I'll get almost 11 foot, probably 1 by 8 out of that. And then the next cut below that, I might be able to get an actual truss. We'll see, like a 1.5 inch board. If not, I'll take another 1 inch board. I know I'll get a 1 inch board out of that. And both those boards could be used for the ceiling in my garage, or if they're really nice, in my house. So that's kind of my thought process. And then once that cut's done, then I'll go to an 8-inch cut. And then whatever that bullshit board is, I don't know if it'll be usable or like a 1/2 inch board. I've been getting a lot of like 1/2 inch thick boards, and I've been saving them all, or even a 1/4 inch board, because if I like build furniture, which I might build like a hutch or something in our bedroom, I can use those thin boards on the back side of that furniture piece, because it won't be like for strength. It'll just be for boxing in the hutch, if that makes sense. So this bark will become firewood. And then 1 inch down below this cut. I mean, I got 6.5 showing of good wood, and then there's bark. But 1 inch below that, and then I flip that board over, I'll probably be able to get it, an 8-inch wide, 1 inch thick board, and it'll be almost 12 feet long. Or I know for sure I could get a 6-inch wide board. And once I cut it, I put that bullshit board over here. I get this cant cut on my wood down to about 3 inches thick. That cant I leave. Then I start putting all these bullshit boards and cutting them one at a time to get the usable lumber I can off of it. Stop cutting my boards with the 1.5 by 8s. That's what this cant is. I get about 3 inches, and then I start taking these bullshit boards, whatever you want to call them, and take the dog off. Start putting these on, and then I have something to pin them against. And it's supported all the way along the length of this board instead of just like 3 of the log stops, if I use those metal log stops. So I can brace it real nice and cut these boards. So then I just go down and see what I can get. This one's got quite a bit of taper, so I can take this, lift it up a little bit, and pin it, and then see the most I can get. Like, I don't care about this side so much. I'm looking at the board, probably going to measure here. There's a hump there, so I kind of go off of that, but I have to kind of look down over here. So I'm thinking like 9.5 inches. If I cut that, now I'll have a flat spot. Flip this board over and see if I can get an 8, which I can't. So it'll probably be a 6-inch wide 1x board, 10-12 feet long. Because this is such a time-consuming process, you know, you have to fill the thing with gas. If it runs out, the blade might have to be changed. Empty the buckets of sawdust. Change the buckets of sawdust. Move the boards back and forth. Roll it over. Anyway, it's work for sure. But anyway, one thing I do to make it more efficient, I cut that one board, right? It ended up being 10.5. And now I got a flat spot. I could have flipped that over, lowered the mill to 8-inch, got that 8-inch board, which I can get an 8-inch board, by the way. But instead, I'm going to throw the board to the side, cut the next one because the mill's already up high, right? I can cut as many boards as I can until I get all the boards that are going to be able to be milled at 8 inches. I'll stack them all here. The mill will run over the top of them. I don't even have to take them down, which saves time and effort. Then let's say I get 4 boards. They'll all be cut at 8 inches. I stack them all against here on the flat spot, and I cut one time all those boards to 8 inches. Then I can undog them, remove them, put them wherever I'm going to put them, you know. So that saves a little bit of time, I've found. Anything to make the process more efficient. So right now, I set that down. That'll be cut to 8 inches. I can get an 8-inch board off of this, so I'll adjust it where I have to, cut that, set it aside. This 1.5-inch thick board, I know I'm gonna get 8 inches, okay? This one won't be able to. I can tell right now, well, yeah, maybe I will. I will get an 8-inch out of that. Put that on the mill, cut the top. All of those will be 8 inches, stack them, cut them. So that one I can't get an 8, I only can get a 6, so I left it off the mill. Now I stacked all the boards I can get an 8 on, and then I can cut one time. And cut them all 4 of them at one time. Because the least amount you have to handle them, the better. All this wood, you have to remember, isn't dried, so it's like 3 times heavier. You know, a 2x4 isn't just a light little 2x4, it's heavy. You got a 10 by 1.5 by 14 feet long. It's like a friggin' 80-pound board with it. So, least amount you have to handle them, the better. All right, we're done. So what we got is, we got one of those little thin boards I was talking about. Good for the backside of furniture, I guess. Or somebody leave a comment on what they do with it. Something I haven't thought of. So I got 8 by 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of those, which will do 3.5 trusses. And then I have these 4 boards. So these are those 1-bys. So like that one's got the wane, but the backside isn't bad. Same thing. Got some wane here. Flip it around. That'll be a good board for my ceiling. And one of these 6 inches. So 3 8-inch wide, 1 6-inch wide. Out of that log. So that is pretty cool. I might have enough lumber for my trusses now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think that's what I wanted. 8 trusses to do this 24-foot span. I might have to do the math on that. I might be throwing shit out there that I might have to do the math on that. I wanted them a little more than 3 feet wide. So this is 2 feet wide. I want 3 feet wide because I want to put canoes in each one of these bays in that garage. And I have a lot of canoes. So I'll rig them all up with one of those pulley systems so I can come in here in my garage, move my van. They'll all be up inside the rafters, not hanging down below them. And I can undo them and drop whatever one I want, put it up and down easy. So that's the plan.